Hello everyone, my name is Zach and welcome to my channel. Amongst other things, I'm a reenactor and a jouster, and I also really love playing Warhammer. All of these things cross over quite a lot, and one of my friends called Roy has asked me to have a look at something that he has been involved in, which is a film called Chaos Rising. Chaos Rising is a fantasy film very much inspired by the worlds of Warhammer, but it's made entirely by fans and it's been crowdfunded. I've checked it out and I think it's absolutely amazing what they've done. It is a bit gory, so not for the younger viewers, but if you're into medieval and fantasy combat, then do check it out. Now Roy has asked me to have a look at one of the costumes in Chaos Rising, so we're going to do that together now. So here is one of the stills from Chaos Rising. This is the main character, and he is very much inspired by Bretonnian knight from the world of Warhammer, who are of course inspired by late 14th century French knights. Here you can see he is in fact the only character to ride a horse in the film, and what a lovely horse it is as well. Now if we were going to go for a historical setting to this, then this horse is far too big for most war horses of the period. Very difficult to get onto. I've done a video on that before, if you're interested in more information about that. The horse is wearing a chamfron here. This is one of the first places on a horse that you would armour. The head is the part that comes closest to the enemy first of all, and it's also one of the most vulnerable places of a horse. The area just between the eyes is where we know people were taught to target if they were coming up against cavalry. So if the horse is only wearing one piece of armour, this is what they would be wearing. Now the knight himself is wearing a great helm. This is a pretty good example of one. This kind of helm might be worn over a smaller helmet underneath that the male collar would be attached to. Personally, I feel like this guy is probably wearing a bit too much padding to be historically accurate. If you're wearing this much plate and mail, then you don't generally need this much padding. But obviously in a fantasy setting, there are some people who are much stronger than regular humans. So you could get away with it by saying, you know, he's used to fighting against trolls and things like that, so he needs to augment his plate protection in any way that he can. I'd probably say that the plate on the shoulder might be a bit too big as well. That very much may interfere with the movement of his arm. We tend to see that in the late 14th and early 15th century, the plates over the shoulders are really actually quite small, and only start up here right at the very cap of the shoulder. It seems a bit strange to me that someone this well armoured would leave the top half of the forearm unarmoured except for by the padding. We do see gutter band braces being used in the 14th century, but generally they have the mail going all the way down to the wrist. Now obviously I know that in this situation a lot of these answers are going to be, this is down to the budget of the film. I know that. I'm just talking about this from a historical and an armour enthusiast point of view. It seems a bit strange that he's not wearing leg armour. Again, this is probably a practicality thing from a filming point of view, cutting down on weight and things like that. Maybe in this shot he wasn't supposed to show his legs, and in the film I don't actually believe we see his legs very much at all, so that may be a practicality thing from that. But I would love to see some kind of protection, at least over the knees and preferably over the shins as well. If you're on a horse, those are incredibly vulnerable areas, and I have had friends of mine actually break bones, not even against an enemy, an enemy's attack, but in training, due to riding into something, maybe someone else's leg armour or someone else's stirrup. We actually have in the tournament book of René of Anjou, he's describing what type of armour you should wear if you're going to be involved in a mounted melee, and he says that you should still wear sabatons to help protect your feet against the spurs of your opponent. So yeah, when you're on a horse, unless you're jousting specifically, generally leg armour is a really good thing because those legs are just really quite vulnerable on the side of the horse there. Overall, I think that this costume is really nice. It's great to see real steel being used in a film production. I particularly like the horse's chamfron. It seems to be some really nice simple shapes that protect exactly where you would want them to. The helmet is probably the best part of the knight's gear. I love the crest as well. It matches all of the heraldry and things like that, which is great. If I was going to improve it, I would work on the arms and the legs here, just to get the arm looking sleeker and get some protection on those legs. Thank you very much for joining me here. If you've enjoyed this look into Chaos Rising, then do check out their film. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, then subscribe. If you'd like me to review a kit from a film, then leave a suggestion in the comments. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate it, and apparently the YouTube algorithm really likes it too. I'd also like to say a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. My Knight level patrons' names are appearing on the screen right now, and if you'd like to join them, you can find a link in the description down below. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.